Greetings to everyone out there in the NoDQ galaxy. Welcome to NoDQ video here on NoDQ.com and the YouTube channel, youtube.com/AaronRiftNoDQ. WWE Backlash is only a few days away. Stay tuned to NoDQ.com for the very latest news and, of course, live results coverage. With that being said, let's get down to your questions from twitter.com/AaronRift. First question comes from Joshua. What happens with the Universal Championship now? Will they actually give it to either Braun Strowman or Bobby Lashley? I think what happens is, first of all, Brock Lesnar beats a certain record by a certain somebody that we should not be mentioning because he quit. He walked out on the company, and therefore his record must be broken at all costs. Now, after that, who will be the person to beat Brock Lesnar? Doesn't seem like it's going to be Roman Reigns at this point. I don't think it's going to be Lashley. That would really surprise me. I don't feel Lashley is there yet. He hasn't been back long enough. His character doesn't really seem to be connecting enough with the audience. Strowman, however, I think is a realistic possibility, but maybe not in the immediate near future. Brock Lesnar could, depending on his contract, he could remain Universal Champion for quite some time. And maybe even stay champion until next year's WrestleMania. Who knows? Got this one here from Steve Appleby. Hey Aaron, with Roman Reigns losing again against Lesnar and Strowman winning the GER, could WWE be finally giving up on the Roman Reigns experiment and have Strowman beat Lesnar for the Universal title? Perhaps a triple threat and Money in the Bank? Your thoughts? I think the situation with Lesnar being Universal Champion will depend on doing UFC again. If Lesnar is able to figure out his situation and enter the drug testing pool and be cleared for another UFC fight, then I could see him dropping the title in the near future. If he doesn't do the UFC fight, then like I mentioned a moment ago, he could potentially be champion until WrestleMania. Could we see Strowman get the title as soon as Money in the Bank? Yeah, I think there's a decent possibility, but that also depends on what happens with Lashley and Strowman. Will those two feud? Maybe WWE will do a fatal four-way match and Strowman will pin Lashley to win the title instead of Lesnar. That's a possibility as well. There's a lot of different ways it could go, and like I said, I think it comes down to Lesnar and the UFC, and that will determine when he finally drops the Universal title. As far as who beats him, who wins the title from him, I think Strowman right now seems to be the most logical and most likely candidate. Next one comes from Kyle Allen. Is Roman Reigns, quote, damaged goods because of poor WWE writing? Roman Reigns has been Roman Reigns. He's been in the position he's been in for the past several years. He's been the guy WWE has pushed to the top. They see him as the new face of the company, the new John Cena, but he's still getting booed, and WWE keeps pushing him, knowing that he is going to get booed with the thought process that, hey, the fans are still buying tickets, they're still making noise, so we must be doing something right. That's WWE's attitude, and I don't know if things are ever going to change with Roman Reigns. It feels like his reactions are even worse than Cena's reactions. With Cena, after a while, it seemed like some fans accepted Cena as the top guy and just went along with it. But with Reigns, there's still that resistance, and it hasn't really subsided. People are still booing him heavily. He got booed out of the building in Montreal this week on Raw. I still think he needs a heel turn, but I've been saying this for the longest time, and it hasn't happened. And I don't know if it ever will happen. I'll believe it when I see it. WWE could very well do it, but I'm not going to get my hopes up, and I don't think anybody else should. If I had to make a prediction, I would go the safe route and say Roman Reigns is going to continue being the character he's been for the better part of 4 years now, and nothing is going to change. Got this one here from It's the Costanza. Hey Aaron, should the authors of Pain team up with Roman Reigns as bodyguards? They look like him and wear his gear. I don't think they should necessarily team up with him because they have similar gear, but if Roman Reigns was to go heel, then you could potentially do something like that and form a super heel faction. That might be interesting. Also, you could, I guess, because the gear is similar, you could have a new Shield. Roman Reigns forms a heel Shield, and then they could feud with Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins and Braun Strowman, do a big 6-man tag team match. There's some possibilities with that, but I also liked the idea of Roman Reigns, if he ever did go heel, teaming up with the Usos and forming a heel supergroup. That is also a possibility. I do like the idea of a faction, though. If Reigns went heel, have him go the Hogan route with NWO and form his own heel faction trying to take over WWE. I think that that would definitely be a solid booking strategy for Roman Reigns. Or just make him a complete dominant badass heel. That's also something WWE could do. Make him the new Brock Lesnar. Just have him destroy people night in and night out. This next one comes from Walter. Hey Aaron, does WWE keep disrespecting AJ's title reign and not letting him be the last match? The WWE title is supposed to be the main event, the most prestigious title, yet it doesn't main event WrestleMania or the greatest Royal Rumble. Why not? Because of the simple fact that the title doesn't make the man makes the title. It's all about the guy that's holding the title. That's what's important in WWE. Roman Reigns is the guy. If he's holding the Intercontinental title, the IC title is made. It's the title. It's the focal point. AJ Styles, much like CM Punk, is towards the top in WWE. The company can rely on him to have great matches and carry the title and be a good representative for the company, but he's not going to be the #1 guy. And because he's not the #1 guy, the WWE title is not the priority. The guy that the company is pushing the most is the priority. So yeah, basically AJ Styles is in a similar situation as CM Punk. Now, of course, CM Punk walked out on the company, but AJ Styles, I feel like he's doing really well for himself, and I don't see him quitting anytime soon. But yeah, it would be nice if every once in a while the WWE title match would close the pay-per-view, and I'm really hoping at Backlash, AJ and Nakamura close the show and get to have the great match that I know they're capable of having, and just adding some prestige to the WWE title and making it a main event title as it should be. Got this one here from Paul Jackson. Assuming AJ Styles is victorious at Backlash, who do you see as his next challenger? I'm hoping for Samoa Joe. A lot of history between these two. I would agree with that. I think Samoa Joe is the most likely contender based off of SmackDown this week with the teaser. Samoa Joe coming out. I think that that's foreshadowing a feud between AJ Styles and Samoa Joe. I think it's inevitable. I think we will see it sooner than later. Will there be a triple threat with Nakamura? Will that feud continue between Nakamura and AJ? And then Joe gets added to the equation? I could see that happening. But yeah, I think Joe and AJ will definitely have a significant feud later on this year. That seems to be the next big feud on SmackDown Live. If I had to make a prediction, to me that's the one that I would definitely go with. Samoa Joe has the momentum right now, and yeah, they had some great matches in TNA and on the Indies, so I think these guys revisiting this feud should be one of the best feuds in WWE this year, maybe even the feud of the year if done correctly. Got this one here from Garrett Mills. The New Day is getting really old really fast. Isn't it time for them to break up? And who should turn heel and who has the most potential? Well, I get this question quite often, and I did talk about this last year. If you remember back to NoDQ 1000, I did my fantasy WrestleMania card, and I had this match set up, New Day triple threat, break them up. But WrestleMania 34 has come and go, and they're still slinging pancakes around. I'm so tired of the gimmick, the pancakes thing, just everything about the New Day I feel is stale. And I think it's time to break them up and see what they can do as singles competitors. I think maybe turning Big E heel and giving him a monster push could do something for him. Could really take him to the next level. So I think of the three of them, the guy with the most potential to go far would be Big E as a heel. Got this one here from SCW Wrestling Channel. Hey Aaron, who would you like WWE... Or would you like WWE to do more shows in locations across the world in big arenas on the WWE Network for just $9.99? If so, whereabouts in the world would you like WWE to hold big shows? I say give a show to the United Kingdom. They've been asking for it all this time for many years. I say do one in Mexico. That might be fun. Do one in Japan. WWE invades Japan. I know there was the Beast in the East show from a year or two back, but do like a proper pay-per-view quality show in Japan. I think that would be cool. But yeah, I think the UK is at the top of the list. Do something in London. Those fans have been wanting this for so long. I say give it to them. Maybe not WrestleMania, but give them, I don't know, Battleground. Give them one of the WWE pay-per-views just as an experiment and see where it can go. See if the American fans will tune in at the off time. That's the big question. And I haven't really heard anything about the Greatest Royal Rumble viewership. I'm curious about that to see how many fans actually tuned in early to watch that show. Maybe on a Sunday fans would tune in at any time. Maybe American fans would tune in at 8 a.m. on the West Coast. Maybe they would for a big enough show. Don't do WrestleMania, but test the waters with a show like Battleground. Got this one here from B. Hill. Hey Aaron, is Titus O'Neil falling at the Greatest Royal Rumble the funniest moment in WWE pay-per-view history? I literally laughed so hard it hurt. It's got to be up there because when I was thinking about the funniest moments in wrestling that were not intentional, a lot of them were outside of WWE. Segments involving Scott Steiner, although there is the one segment from Bad Blood 2003 where he slipped on the apron. That was right up there. That might be, for me, the funniest moment other than Titus O'Neil as far as unintentional funny moments go. But some of the other ones, like Sid saying he has half the brain that Kevin Nash does, that was in WCW. The Shockmaster was in WCW. Much of the unintentional funny moments were in WCW. But yeah, Titus O'Neil, that was a fun one. I'm trying to think of other ones, but yes, Scott Steiner to me really stands out. Tripping at Bad Blood and just his promos in general were some of the unintentional funny moments. Got this one here from the NoDQ guy. It looks like Becky Lynch will be feuding with Absolution coming off last week's SmackDown. Absolution making fun of Becky and calling her Charlotte's sidekick. Could you see Becky eventually turn heel on Charlotte and be the new leader of Absolution? Not necessarily, because WWE doesn't like to turn people heel apparently, because there's all these people I have suggested WWE turn them heel and it hasn't happened. And plus, it looks like Absolution is done now. Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville are going to be having a match next week. I don't know if they're going to be teaming up at all in the near future, but that's always a possibility. I think Becky Lynch, like a lot of people, is overdue for a heel turn, but WWE doesn't seem to like to turn people often, and when they do turn somebody, it's someone we're not expecting, like Shinsuke Nakamura or Sami Zayn, the guys that don't necessarily need to turn heel, but WWE just does whatever they want. There's so many guys on a list that I would turn heel on both Raw and SmackDown. But as far as the women go, Becky has to be at the top of the list. I feel like she's going nowhere on SmackDown. I would have liked to have seen her go to Raw, but since she's still on SmackDown, yeah, I think a heel turn could definitely benefit her at this stage of the game. This one comes from Alan Norty. Hey Aaron, is the Sasha and Bayley feud too far gone to salvage? It seems like it's been months of teasing and slow rolling with no payoff. Little to no payoff. If they pulled the trigger right now, would it even be interesting at this point? And Alan is a first-time asker. I feel like it is too late. I feel this feud peaked a long time ago. It should have been done 1 year ago. That would have been the right time. Turn one of them again. I feel like one of those women should have turned by now, and it hasn't happened yet. It feels like the feud has dragged on for too long, way past the point where people were really invested in the storyline, and now it's just like whatever. It doesn't seem to be able to keep people's attention, and when it finally does heat up and there's a one-on-one match on pay-per-view, who's going to be the heel? Is WWE even going to go through with a heel turn? And I really feel that both of them could benefit from a heel turn. Here I go again, talking about people that should be turning heel. Both of them need it, but in this feud, really only one should be turning heel. I guess you could have both of them as heels, but I feel like at this point, almost they are both heels because the crowd just doesn't really care about either of them all that much. And neither of them really seem to have likable traits at this point. So yeah, I don't know. I really don't know what is going to happen with this feud, if it can recover. With good writing, I suppose it could be recovered, but do we really have that much confidence in WWE that the writing will be strong enough to salvage this feud? That is a very big question mark. That'll wrap it up for this edition of NoDQ video. Make sure you pick up a NoDQ.com t-shirt over at NoDQ.com/shirts to support the website. Stay tuned to NoDQ.com for backlash coverage. And please spread the word. Tell a friend about this video. Share it on social media. With that being said, I will see you guys next time.